Did you know that one of the most battle-tested, hurricane-laughing, termite-proof housing structures in American history was invented during World War II? And you can own the shell for under $20,000, or a fully finished home for less than the price of a luxury SUV. And what if I also told you that the cozy wood-frame tiny house your neighbor just dropped $140,000 on might start rotting from the inside out within 10 years, if one thing goes wrong? Today we are putting the Quonset Hut up against the traditional tiny house in the ultimate durability test. We are going category by category with real, May 2026 numbers. And by the end of this video you will know exactly which one wins, and which one has a dirty little secret nobody talks about. Stay all the way to the end, because I am also revealing a brand new 2026 insurance twist that could save you thousands of dollars a year. Before we get into the data, and we have a lot of it today, hit that subscribe button and smash the bell right now. We put out honest, research-backed housing content every single week, and this channel is completely free. Also stay until the end, because I'm going to reveal which structure wins the one category that most people never even think to ask about, and it could save you or cost you thousands of dollars down the road. Alright, let us set the stage. Before we crown a winner, you need to understand what these two structures actually are and where they come from. The Quonset Hut was born in 1941 at Quonset Point, Rhode Island. The U.S. Navy needed a structure that could be shipped anywhere in the world, assembled by ordinary soldiers with no construction experience, and survive the harshest conditions on the planet. They ended up with a half-cylinder of corrugated galvanized steel, no interior columns, no complex framing, just bolts and arches. By the end of World War II, the military had built over 170,000 of these things. After the war, surplus units sold to the public for next to nothing, and Americans converted them into homes, shops, and farms. The traditional tiny house, as we know it today, grew out of the small house movement of the early 2000s. Jay Schaefer and others popularized the idea of wood-framed homes under 400 square feet, often built on trailers. Today, a traditional tiny house typically uses the same stick frame construction as a standard American home. 2x4 or 2x6 with studs, OSB sheathing, house wrap, and your choice of exterior siding. It is familiar, it is beautiful, and it is the housing format most people immediately recognize and connect with. So in this corner, an 80-year-old military design made of steel. In this corner, the all-American wood frame dream. Let the durability test begin. Round 1. How long does each structure actually last? The Quonset Hut. A Quonset Hut built with high-quality galvanized steel and professionally installed is rated to last decades, with leading manufacturers like Steel Master backing their products with a 50-year structural warranty. The corrugated galvanized steel resists rust, corrosion, and virtually every form of physical deterioration that destroys organic building materials. There are Quonset Huts built in the 1940s that are still standing today, over 80 years later, with little more than basic upkeep. The traditional tiny house. A wood-framed tiny house on a permanent foundation, built to code with quality materials and well-maintained, can realistically reach 30 to 60 years. Timber frame builds, which use heavier structural lumber, can technically last much longer. Centuries, if properly maintained, as historic examples across Europe and Japan prove. But the key phrase is properly maintained. Standard stick-built tiny houses using conventional softwood lumber are vulnerable to moisture intrusion, rot, and warping in ways steel simply is not. On wheels, constant road vibration can stress joints and seals, potentially shortening structural life to 20 to 30 years. Round 1 winner, Quonset Hut. The steel shell simply outlasts wood in raw structural longevity, and the 50-year warranty from leading manufacturers backs that up. Round 2. Mother Nature is the ultimate stress test. Which structure survives or worst? The Quonset Hut. This is where the Quonset Hut really shines. The half-arch design was engineered for punishment. Wind loads. The curved shape deflects air rather than fighting it flat on. Quonset Hut manufacturers rate their structures to handle snow loads of 30 to 70 pounds per square foot, depending on the model. Many are certified for wind speeds of 150 miles per hour or higher. That is a serious capacity. Hail, high winds, and even tornado conditions that would strip the siding and roof off a wood frame home often leave a steel arch standing. And because there is no organic material in the shell, There is zero rot, zero termite damage, and zero warping from humidity cycles. The traditional tiny house. A well-built wood tiny house holds up fine in normal weather, but it has real Achilles heels. Water is wood's #1 enemy. Any failure in the roofing system, window flashing, or exterior caulk allows moisture in, and once moisture gets into OSB sheathing or framing lumber, you're on a clock toward mold and rot. In hurricane or tornado country, a wood frame structure faces far greater risk of catastrophic failure. Coastal regions are particularly brutal, where salt air accelerates with decay. And insects. Termites cause an estimated $5 billion in property damage in the U.S. annually, and a tiny house with a wood frame is exactly the kind of target they love. Round 2 winner, Quonset Hut. No organic material, no rot, no termites, and a shape engineered to defeat the wind. In 2026, with storm frequency rising, this structural advantage is more relevant than ever. Round 3. This is where things get interesting, and where the Quonset Hut's great paradox lives. This is the dirty little secret I promised you at the top. The Quonset Hut Hidden Challenge. Steel is one of the most thermally conductive materials on the planet. Without proper insulation, a Quonset Hut in summer is an oven. In winter, it is a refrigerator. And the curved walls that make it so structurally brilliant make insulation genuinely tricky. The core problem is called thermal bridging. Because the entire structure is one continuous steel shell, heat moves rapidly from the warm side to the cold side, bypassing whatever insulation you install on the interior and creating cold spots. Those cold spots cause condensation, and condensation inside a steel building leads to dripping ceilings, rust, and mold growth. Standard flat wall insulation bats simply do not fit a curved arch cleanly either, leaving gaps that further undermine thermal performance. The solution is closed-cell spray foam, which adheres directly to the curved steel surface, seals every gap, and dramatically reduces both thermal bridging and condensation. But in 2026, this is not cheap. Closed-cell spray foam is now averaging $5 to $12 per square foot installed, up significantly from just a couple of years ago. This is a major budget item that catches Quonset buyers off guard. Skipping it is essentially inviting rain inside your house through condensation. The traditional tiny house. This is where the wood frame tiny house quietly wins. Standard bat insulation fits perfectly between flat 2x4 or 2x6 studs. Rigid foam boards go on cleanly. The process is familiar to any contractor. Achieving a tight thermal envelope in a wood-frame tiny house is straightforward, well understood, and far less expensive than solving the curved arch insulation puzzle. Well-built tiny homes today routinely achieve high R values without the condensation headaches that steel structures demand. Round 3 winner, traditional tiny house. Easier to insulate, lower insulation cost, and no thermal bridging nightmare. The Quonset Hut can be done right, but it takes specialized materials, extra budget, and an experienced contractor who knows steel buildings. Round 4. Let's talk about real money with real May 2026 numbers. And heads up, steel prices have seen upward pressure this year due to 2026 trade tariffs. So these figures are higher than what you may have seen on older videos. Quonset Hut costs in 2026. A basic Quonset Hut shell kit in 2026 runs roughly $10 to $25 per square foot, reflecting approximately a 4% year-over-year increase from steel tariff pressure. A turnkey installed Quonset Hut, including kit, foundation, delivery, and erection, lands between $20 and $50 per square foot for the basic structure. For a livable residential space, you then need to add interior framing, closed-cell spray foam insulation, drywall, electrical, plumbing, and finished flooring. That full residential finish-out drives the total cost to roughly $65 to $150 per square foot in today's market. A practical example, a realistic mid-range 1,000 square foot residential Quonset will run $100,000 to $150,000 fully finished in 2026. The savings come from a shell. You're getting a hurricane-proof exterior for about $20 a square foot before you start the inside. The big variable is DIY involvement. Roughly 75 to 80% of Quonset buyers do assemble the shell themselves, saving significant labor cost. If you are handy and willing to put in the work, the Quonset budget story is genuinely compelling. Traditional tiny house costs in 2026. A traditional tiny house in 2026 runs between $30,000 and $70,000 for a standard build on the lower end, with the per square foot range now sitting at $160 to $480 for a fully finished unit. Labor costs are the primary driver of that increase. High-end custom, tiny homes with premium finishes can push well past $150,000. Lumber has remained relatively stable but volatile compared to steel, so pricing can swing depending on when you lock in materials. Round 4 winner. Quonset Hut for raw shell cost. Once you factor in the specialized insulation and interior build-out required to make it truly livable, the cost gap narrows. But for the budget-conscious DIY builder, the Quonset shell still wins on total cost. Round 5. What does it actually cost and take to keep each structure in good shape over the decades? Quonset Hut maintenance. The Quonset Hut's maintenance story is largely positive. The galvanized steel shell requires no painting, no staining, and no pest treatments. Your primary maintenance tasks are regular visual inspections for rust at fastener points and joints, checking door and window seals for weather tightness, ensuring proper drainage around the foundation, and keeping the exterior clean of debris that traps moisture. Manufacturers recommend inspecting twice a year. If rust spots form at exposed fasteners, treat them promptly with rust-inhibiting primer. Left unchecked, surface rust can eventually penetrate the galvanized coating, but this is entirely preventable with basic attention. Traditional tiny house maintenance. Wood frame tiny houses demand more consistent maintenance attention. Exterior paint or stain needs refreshing every 5 to 10 years. Caulking around windows, doors, and roof penetrations must be inspected and replaced regularly because this is the front line of your moisture defense. In humid climates, the subfloor and wall cavities need monitoring for moisture buildup. Pest inspections are an ongoing responsibility in termite-prone regions. Decking, siding, and trim will need periodic replacement over the decades. None of this is deal-breaker work, but it is consistent, recurring effort and cost. Round 5 winner. Quonset Hut. Lower recurring maintenance burden. The steel shell simply requires less ongoing intervention than wood, as long as you stay on top of those fastener inspections. Round 6. Numbers tell part of the story. But where do you actually want to live? And can you even legally build it where you want? The Quonset Hut reality. The Quonset Hut's curved walls are both its most iconic feature and its biggest design limitation. Curved walls mean no standard rectangular rooms, no easy furniture placement against walls, and significant interior framing challenges. Every wall you build inside is a custom job. Hanging cabinetry, installing standard doors, and even placing a bed against a wall require creative problem solving. Many people love the industrial aesthetic and the open loft-like interior feel, but it is a genuinely different way of living. On the zoning front, there is actually some good news in 2026. In ADU-friendly states like California and Oregon, Quonset Huts are increasingly being classified as engineered steel ADUs, which gives them a cleaner permitting pathway in jurisdictions that have embraced accessory dwelling unit reform. That said, in many rural counties and HOA-governed communities, the unconventional shape still triggers extra scrutiny. The traditional tiny house reality. The traditional tiny house wins decisively on livability and design flexibility. Standard framing means standard everything. Rectangular rooms, flat walls, conventional cabinetry, familiar construction methods that any contractor understands. The aesthetic range is enormous, from Scandinavian minimalist to Pacific Northwest cabin to converted barn farmhouse. On the regulatory front, the 2024 International Residential Code, now adopted across more states than ever, has further streamlined the path for tiny homes under 400 square feet. IRC Appendix Q provides a dedicated code pathway, and the trend is clearly moving in the right direction. Financing and resale options, while still more limited than conventional homes, continue to improve. Round 6 winner. Traditional tiny house. Better design flexibility, easier to build out, more familiar to lenders and buyers, and a wider aesthetic range. Quonset Huts are gaining ground in ADU-friendly states, but the tiny house still wins this round overall. Okay, this is the category I promised you at the top of the video. Nobody is talking about this. And in 2026, it might be the most important factor in your decision. Insurance. Traditional tiny houses on wheels are becoming increasingly difficult and expensive to insure in 2026. With storm frequency rising and insurance companies recalibrating risk in coastal and storm-prone regions, a tiny house on a trailer that has not been engineered to specific wind ratings is facing higher premiums and in some cases outright coverage denials from major carriers. Quonset huts, because they are bolted to a concrete slab and carry certified wind ratings of 150 miles per hour or higher for manufacturers, are currently seeing lower insurance premiums in coastal states compared to wood-frame tiny homes. The insurance industry rewards documented structural performance, and the Quonset Hut steel engineering specifications give it a measurable advantage in the current market. A tiny house on a foundation fares better on insurance than a THOW, but the Quonset's certified steel specs give it an edge even there. Over a 20-year ownership period, lower annual premiums can offset thousands of dollars of the construction cost difference. Bonus round winner, Quonset Hut. In 2026, its certified wind ratings and permanent foundation are translating directly into lower insurance premiums in storm-prone markets. This is a real, tangible financial advantage that was not as significant just 2 years ago. Let us put the full scorecard on screen. Shell lifespan. Quonset Hut 50+ years. Galvanized steel. Traditional tiny house 30 to 60 years. Wood frame varies. Weather resistance. Quonset Hut excellent. Wind, snow, hail 150+ mph. Traditional tiny house good with maintenance. Rot vulnerable. Fire resistance. Quonset Hut high. Non-combustible steel. Traditional tiny house moderate. Wood combustible. Pest resistance. Quonset Hut excellent. No organic material. Traditional tiny house vulnerable to termites, rodents. Insulation complexity. Quonset Hut challenging. Curved walls, thermal bridging. Traditional tiny house, straightforward flat wall install. Shell kit cost, 2026. Quonset Hut $10 to $25 per square foot. Traditional tiny house, not available. Stick frame labor priced in. Turnkey cost, 2026. Quonset Hut $65 to $150 per square foot finished. Traditional tiny house $160 to $480 per square foot finished. Insurance 2026. Quonset Hut lower premiums in coastal states. Traditional tiny house those harder to insure. Rising rates. Long-term maintenance. Quonset Hut low. Inspect fasteners, check seals. Traditional tiny house moderate. Paint, caulk, wood care. Design flexibility. Quonset Hut limited by arch shape. Traditional tiny house high. Standard framing methods. Zoning/permits, 2026. Quonset Hut easier in ADU-friendly states, as engineered steel ADU. Traditional tiny house, IRC 2024, further streamlines tiny homes. Resale/financing. Quonset Hut difficult. Niche market. Traditional tiny house improving. THOW still tricky. Quonset Hut wins. Structural lifespan, weather resistance, long-term maintenance, raw shell cost. 2026 insurance premiums. Traditional tiny house wins. Insulation and energy efficiency, design and livability, financing and resale. So here's the honest truth after running all 7 rounds. If you live in a hurricane zone, tornado alley, a region with heavy snowfall, or anywhere that termites and wood rot are serious threats, the Quonset Hut steel shell is a genuinely compelling choice. It will outlast virtually any wood frame structure. It handles extreme weather better. Its long-term maintenance burden is lower. And in 2026, it is rewarded with lower insurance premiums in storm-prone markets. If you have strong DIY skills and you're comfortable problem-solving the insulation challenge, a Quonset Hut can absolutely be turned into a warm, livable, beautiful home for a fraction of what a traditional build costs. But if you want design flexibility, straightforward financing, easier permitting in most jurisdictions, better resale potential, and a home that feels immediately warm and conventional from day one, the traditional tiny house wins those categories clearly. It is not weaker. A well-built tiny house with quality materials, proper moisture management, and regular maintenance will serve you for 50 years or more. The real question is not which one is tougher in a lab test. The real question is, which one fits your climate, your skills, your budget, and your life? Now you have the 2026 data to answer that honestly. If this video gave you something useful today, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who are trying to figure out exactly these kinds of real housing questions. And subscribe if you have not yet, because next week we are diving into another comparison you're going to want to see. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you Team Quonset or Team Tiny House? And if you're in an ADU-friendly state and thinking about the Quonset route, I want to hear about it. I read every single comment, and your questions drive what we cover next. So talk to me. Until next time, keep building smart, keep building affordable, and we will see you in the next one.